Good morning or afternoon, everybody. I am Jason Roslin, and welcome back to another edition of the Awesemoto.com PGA Chalk Report. In this short form video, I go over the top 4 owned golfers, or at least projected owned golfers of the week, and then throw in one low owned stud that might help you win AGPP this week. As we've talked about so many times in our video series and of course our content series, Ben and I, ownership plays such a vital role in success in DraftKings and daily fantasy sports, including FanDuel. So we thought we'd create a short form video. It was well received in the first week. So again, we'll try it here for the second week. Go ahead and please like and subscribe to the video if you do like it. So without further ado, let's learn about some of the chalkier players here. You're going to lose my screen and my face. But in any case, okay, so this is the chalk report for the U.S. Open. If you're interested in more information or some against the grain plays other than the one player that we talk about here, in some players that might be low owned, go ahead and head to awesemoto.com/PGA. And Against the Grain is the article that I write that is focused just on DraftKings ownership, gives the entire field's ownership plus some of my low owned plays. That is a premium article there for all of the awesemoto.com plus members. Still, go ahead and this is a perfect time to join if you haven't already. It's a great article that comes out every Tuesday afternoon, so depending on when you're watching this, it may or may not be live. So, okay, let's learn about the first golfer, and coming off of a win, I mean, just absolutely huge. As you can see, sorry about that. I still had my little thing in there. I'll give you a little brief 10-second pause. Okay, so sorry about that. Rory McIlroy is our first golfer here that we're going to talk about today. So he's coming off a huge win last week where he absolutely torched the field. DraftKings 10-5, FanDuel 11-8 in price. Recent form, as I just mentioned, first at the RBC. So it looks like FanDuel is still a little bit behind in terms of projecting their ownership, but it looks like DraftKings, he could come in 25% owned, somewhere in that range. He has 10,500, so much cheaper than Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka, and it looks like everybody is just going to want to go ahead and play Rory, which makes a ton of sense. He's coming in with obviously some incredible form, so definitely be interesting to watch him as we march along. The next golfer that we're going to talk about this week is the cheapest priced golfer. Oh, Patrick Cantlay will be next. Cheapest priced golfer in terms of their actual... That is, I might have kicked out there. And that's Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson, again, coming in second place last week, 28th at the PGA Championship. He's in some good form. He played good at the Wells Fargo as well. He's only priced 7,700 on DraftKings this week. That's pushing his ownership, projected ownership, plus 20%. Like I said, we're a little late on FanDuel this week. We will have those up, of course, on the site by this afternoon. And normally the DraftKings and FanDuel ownership normally track each other. What happens is, like, for example, Rory, who's 25%. I'll go back to Rory over here. Rory, who's something around 25% on DraftKings. You can expect to see him somewhere in the 35% owned on FanDuel, just because their salary structure is a lot less stringent than DK. So expect to see Rory 30+% owned on FanDuel. Whereas Webb Simpson, he's a little bit more expensive. As you can see, $1,900 more on FanDuel this week. So I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he'll probably have a little bit lower ownership on FanDuel than he normally would, but should still come right across that 20% mark, as you see there. Next I want to talk about is Patrick Cantlay. And Patrick Cantlay, man, what a tournament he came in at the Memorial, winning it third at the PGA Championship. He's priced at $10,000, FanDuel 11,300. So his projected ownership, we've got him coming in at right around 20%. You know, he was at 24% a couple of weeks ago at the Memorial at almost the same price. But now we've got players like Tommy Fleetwood and Hideki Matsuyama way cheaper than him. So I don't expect the ownership to get too nosebleed here for Patrick Cantlay this week, but somewhere around 20% with more of the 8 and 9K guys spread out. So it looks like he's still going to come in probably the top 5 or 10 owned of the slate, and expect him to be around 20% this week. Next, I want to talk about Matt Kuchar. And Matt Kuchar, man, he just continues to perform. One bad week at the Memorial when he was basically super jockey. Bounced back at a fourth at the RBC Canadian Open. Looked like he had a chance to win heading into the weekend. Had a share of the lead at some point. So Matt Kuchar, I mean, he just is so consistent. 8,500 on DraftKings. You'll see a lot of lineups paired with him and Hideki Matsuyama this week. And because of that, he'll come in at about 20% ownership. We've got him projected a little bit lower on FanDuel just because on FanDuel, a lot of the people love to stack one or two or even three of those studs. And when I say studs, I mean a McIlroy, a DJ, a Brooks Koepka, a Cantlay, so to speak. So looks like Kuchar, as he was last week, will come a little bit under-owned on FanDuel, around 15%. But 20+% on DraftKings this week at the cheap price with a guy that's super consistent everywhere. So that's going to leave us to our low-owned stud. And what a surprise, it's Jordan Spieth. It just seems like nobody wants to play him. Whether that is, if you guys have been following, guys and gals have been following along on my Twitter, obviously I'm a big Spieth fan and seem like I've created such a fantastic hate in the industry for this guy. Looks like maybe it's starting to turn a little bit, but still, when you have Patrick Cantlay $200 cheaper or Rory McIlroy $300 more, I can understand why nobody wants to play Jordan Spieth. But of course, you guys know, if you've been following me, and if you haven't, if this is your first video, I'm a Spieth truther, and I will take less than 10% ownership on a guy I believe can come out in top 5 or win on any given week, and that's Jordan Spieth this week. So we've got him at 7% on DraftKings, 5.8% on FanDuel. Last time on FanDuel, he was 3% owned at the Memorial in the big contest of $500. So as you can tell, people just not ready to quite play him. He was a little bit more owned in the $9 on FanDuel, but still, we have certainly under 10% projected on both sites. So really interesting there. Obviously, weeks where I can get leverage on Jordan Spieth and him be one of the against the grain plays. That's obviously something that I look to do. So with that being said, we're going to pull me back up here on the screen there, and we'll pull in our side banners here. There we go. And ooh, that's the wrong color there. My apologies, guys. There we go. So just getting used to, of course, all of this and getting used to all of the things that we have up here, including this sidebar here, this slider. But of course, if you're more interested, as I mentioned at the top of this video, if you're interested in ownership, you're interested in what we project out as for the entire field, and some of those against the grain plays or low owned plays that I'm interested in, head to Against the Grain, the article that comes out every Tuesday afternoon. Again, if you don't see it out, it's likely because it's not quite ready. So if you aren't an awesome member, it is a perfect time, an awesome time to become an Awesemo Plus member. Use promo code 3ball. If you found it through this video, it gives me the ability and, of course, the guys in Awesemo to see where everybody is coming from, which is, of course, very important for the business. So with that being said, I am going to head into talking to about a couple of the guys that are playing this week other than these three guys, and, of course, give you a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that. My microphone there just jumped out. So I'll end it here. I'm going to go and talk about two more videos, so stay tuned for that. You should be able to see them right after this. Of course, my opening round 3-ball and then my model breakdown. So until next time, or until the next video, guys, cheers. And I hope everybody has a great day, and see you next time. Cheers.